y'all, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. If you are returning, you already know it. You are fabulous. All right, so today's video, this is a Dollar Tree Plus video. So I'm gonna have some things in here that are obviously from the Dollar Tree, but I also have several things that came from the Dollar Tree Plus section. I am super excited to show you this stuff. It turned out absolutely fantastic. I love each and every one of these so much. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so for this first one, I have got two of these sets of these wooden pumpkins. They come from the Dollar Tree Plus section. They were $3 a piece. Super cute. Now, I already took this one apart. I was just seeing how easy it was to get them apart. And then I have got one of the, well, it's two actually, of these stretched canvases for $5 from the Dollar Tree Plus section. We're just going to be using one of those though. Now, the first thing I did was just go through and get my pumpkins ready. I just kind of prepared them. I took them apart, took off the little bow that they had on them, just got everything ready to be painted. So I laid them out. I kind of figured out how I was going to want them on the canvas and decided from there what colors I was going to go with what. So I've got plaster and also antique wax. I have celery and also moss by Waverly. And then I have got white Adirondack by Folk Art. And then I have some blue paint that I just mixed up myself. Now that is like a turquoisey blue and then some black mixed in with it. I couldn't really explain it, but it's just a really pretty blue color for the fall season. So I started out by painting my pumpkins with the blue color. Then I'm going to move on to the moss. Same thing, y'all have seen me paint 101 times on this channel. So I think we can kind of skip right on through this, but I'm going to paint those last two with the plaster chalk paint by Waverly. Now, while my paint is still wet, I want to make sure that the paint is still wet. That's going to give me a little more leeway when it comes to getting these to really blend in together. So I took that antique wax and started to kind of frame out my pumpkin with that antique wax. You're really contouring it is what you're doing, because you're going to add some highlights, add some dark in. But what I do is just add in my antique wax, and then I will go back over it with my brush that has the plaster chalk paint on it. And I just continue that process until I get my pumpkins looking like what I want them to. So, like I said, I'm going to have the plaster chalk paint good and wet, making sure that it is still good and pliable. That's what you want. Then I'm going to take the antique wax, add in my little lines, and then I'm going to take my brush that has the plaster on it, and I'm just going to go back over it, but I'm going to go in downward strokes. Down, down, down. Never going back up. It's strictly just going down with that last little bit of painting. But the same thing for the moss colored pumpkin, excuse me. I'm just going to add in some of that celery just to kind of highlight this pumpkin. But I'm adding it in while my paint is wet. Then I'm going to take the brush that has the moss on it and just go in downward strokes right over the top of that. And that is just to blend these colors together. And I just keep doing this process until I get it like I want it. Now, this last time on the green ones, I'm going to add in some of that celery to my pumpkin. I'm then going to get some of the antique wax and add it in right on top of that celery color. And that is just to give it some contrast. But I'm going to go right back over the top of it with the brush that has the moss on it, just like we did before. Downward strokes. The reason you don't want to go back up is because you're going to paint over the top of it more or less. If you just go in one quick downward stroke, it's just going to blend it. You're not going to take away from it, if that makes sense. I did add in a little bit of that white Adirondack to all of my pumpkins just for some highlight, but same thing. I'm just going to go back over the top of them with their original color, and that just blends everything in seamlessly, guys. They turned out so So stinking good. I'm then going to take some of this Ceramicoat. Now, y'all, this is great paint. I bought this for $1.49 on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and it is great paint. Like, it is such good paint. It almost is like chalk paint. I mean, the coverage is most definitely just as good as chalk paint. It's actually acrylic paint, but it dries matte, so it looks like chalk paint when you're done. I mean, I love it. I think it's great paint. Now, to get our frame ready, I just took the canvas off of the frame. Now, my frame did kind of fall apart on me. I had to actually wood glue it back together in a couple spots, but that's besides the point. No big deal. We got that fixed. I did add in a few staples on the corners just to hold it together. And then I'm going to take that same Ceramicoat paint and stain my frame. I'm using a baby wipe. I just put a little of the paint on my baby wipe and then run that baby wipe right across the frame. It gives it a more stained look instead of an actual painted look. And the baby wipes, see, baby wipes have like conditioners in them that are actually to condition your skin. So, and make your skin soft, you know. So those conditioners help the paint to just kind of glide right across there. It works out really, really well. And I actually learned that from Holly over on Hot Humble Pie. She mentioned the baby wipe thing once before, and I was like, oh, that's pretty neat to know. But anyway, so there's your science lesson for the day. Anyways, I took the frame. Well, I took the canvas. I flipped it inside out. I want the outside of this to be facing the front. So it's inside out. And then I just simply stapled it back to the frame. I took a box cutter and cut off all of the excess from around the frame. Super simple. But see, I've got that more cloth-like feeling actually showing on the front. So we have flipped the canvas inside out. It looks more like a drop cloth or something, I guess you would say. Anyways, I took my pumpkins, arranged them on top of my frame, just kind of playing with them, figuring out exactly how I wanted these to lay on the frame, just going back and forth with them until I got it just like I wanted it. They came with these raffia bows on them, and I kind of played around with the raffia bows, but I did not like that. So I took some of this twine that I picked up back during the summer. It was in the nautical section. It's white and brown twine, and I just wound it around my fingers 8 or 10 times, snipped off an extra piece, and then I'm going to take that extra piece and tie it right in the center of my loops. Very, very simple. This is a very, very simple bow. Double knot it so it does not come apart, and then I'm just going to kind of fluff out my little loops a little bit and then snip off any of the excess on the tails of it. See, so stinking cute. So I made a couple of those, and I hot glued those directly to my pumpkins. I made 3 of them. I kind of zigzagged it, and then I'm just going to start hot gluing down my pumpkins. Very, very simple, guys. This DIY was incredibly easy to do, and guys, it turns out so pretty. Oh my goodness, the different colors in those pumpkins and just the contrast of the different colors it's gorgeous. I love this frame. Now, I did have a couple pieces on the frame, or a couple places on the frame where my staple had actually come through. So I did have to go back over those spots with a baby wipe and that brown paint color, but I was able to blend that in. You couldn't even tell that it was there. But like I said, I just hot glued my pumpkins directly to the canvas. Super duper simple. And that was it. That's all I did with this one. And I absolutely love this, y'all. It's a good size, too. This is a very big DIY. for this next one, I have got this little shelf sitter. It's 3 little pumpkins that I picked up in the Dollar Tree Plus section. It was $3. Now listen, mine was broken. It was actually cracked and I didn't know it. I don't know if it was like that when I bought it or if it happened in the car, you know, on the ride home, but no big deal. I just added a little wood glue and fixed it. And then I have got a set of these window clings from the Dollar Tree. I have got Antique Wax by Waverly, also Plaster by Waverly, and then that blue color that we used on the pumpkins from earlier. Now, I used my paint to actually stain this wood. I wanted the wood to still look like wood. I wanted you to still be able to tell that it was wood. So I didn't really paint it. I actually just added my paint on and then used a baby wipe to wipe across it. Now I do apologize that I'm mostly out of frame for all of that, but this is what they turned out to look like. I added that antique wax on the actual lines in the pumpkins just to give it that contrast. I then took some twine and I just wrapped it around the stems of each of my pumpkins. Secured it in the back with a little dab of hot glue and then just trimmed off the excess. But I did this for all 3 pumpkins. Now, I'm going to take some Aleene's tacky glue and water. It's a mixture that I made. It's half and half, Aleene's half water. But it works just as well as Mod Podge, and I feel like it's way, way cheaper. But when I laid my window cling down, I thought, it kind of blends in a little too much. So I didn't really like it. So what I decided to do was take some washi tape and tape off a square all the way around my window cling. So I laid my window cling in the center, got it centered up real well, and then began to lay my washi tape around my window cling so that I would be able to see exactly how it was going to look. You know what I mean? I then took some plaster chalk paint by Waverly and just painted in that square that I had made with the washi tape. I was very careful not to get it underneath the washi tape, so I kind of went, you know, up and down and side to side and just very careful not to get it because I wanted really crisp lines, and that's exactly what I got. So perfect square right in the center of my pumpkin. Now when this was dry, I waited till this was completely dry. I then added some of that mixture, the Aleene's tacky glue and water, and I just added that right to the center of that space and then added in my window cling. I rubbed it in with my fingers, just smoothed it out real well, and then set that to the side and let it dry. Now, we're going to take this pick that I picked up from Walmart. So stinking cute, y'all. It has a velvet pumpkin on it. So darling. And I wanted to also show you guys that you could still use the blues and the greens with the traditional colors. It all still goes really, really well together. So what I did was just add hot glue to the bottom of this shelf sitter right where I knew that this pick was going to touch. And then I just added in the pick. I held it into place and let that dry. Added in a couple more little picks and a little pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. And this one is done. And y'all, this is too stinking cute. Okay, for this next one and my personal favorite, there's 2 in this video that I absolutely love. I'm keeping for myself, and this one is number 1. So I picked up this straw wreath form from the Dollar Tree Plus section. It was $3. And then I picked up some of these gorgeous, it's like a light beige and pinky color of stems. It is the maple leaves, or I guess they're supposed to be maple leaves, and then some of them have pumpkins on them. I had 8 of the just plain leaves, and then I had 5 sets of the leaves with the pumpkins on them. Now, I started out tearing the paper off of this wreath form or plastic, whatever it was, but I was tearing it off and I was making the biggest mess. So know that if you get one of these straw wreath forms, it does make a mess, but it's so worth it. Listen, all I did to this was cut down all of my stems. I did not use any hot glue or anything. I just literally jabbed them into this wreath form. I went through and put in all of my leaves first. I then cut down all of my stems that had the pumpkins on them and then just placed those evenly throughout this wreath. Y'all, this thing is huge and it is stunning. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Alrighty, number 4, and this one is so simple. I have got a placemat from the Dollar Tree and then also a set of frames, canvas frames from the Dollar Tree Plus. So I just removed the canvas from my frame, super simple. I'm then going to stain the frame with some antique wax by Waverly and a baby wipe. Just put it on and then literally wipe it right back off. Super duper simple. I'm then going to lay out my placemat, find the placement of it, and then begin to staple it into place. I put one staple in it and then flipped it over and made sure that I had it, directly centered. And then I filled in the rest of the staples all the way around it. Super simple. I'm going to take a box cutter and just cut off the edges. So simple, guys. Then I'm going to take one of these little picks. I believe I picked this pick up at Walmart. I'm pretty sure I got this one at Walmart. But I'm just going to take that pick, trim it down, and then we're going to add it to the corner of this frame. So I just added some hot glue and then placed down my pick. So stinking simple, guys. This one was so easy to do. It literally took me like maybe 5 minutes. And I think it turns out really pretty. Okay, for this next one, which is my second favorite of the entire video, I've got this wood round that I picked up in the Dollar Tree Plus section. Then I've also got these gorgeous blue maple leaves with the white pumpkins. Y'all, I think they are so pretty. I've then got some of that ceramic coat in black, and then I've also got that blue paint that we've been using all along. This is literally just a mixture of blue paint with a little bit of black in it. Anyways, cute color. Now, I'm going to take that black, and I went over the wording on this wood round. Well, I got it on the wood round as I was doing that, so I thought, okay, I'll just go in and stain it, and that will cover up where I actually, had my little mishaps and got it on the wood. So I did go in and stain it, and I'm glad that I decided to go ahead and stain it because I think it really it looks more like fall, I think. But anyway, so I stained it. I'm then going to take that blue paint and go over the little hearts that go along the sides. And after I did that, I was like, you know what? This would look way better if the entire thing was just blue because it just popped so well on that stained wood round. So I felt like the black just blended in a little too much. It just was not sticking out enough for me. So I decided to go ahead and paint it blue. And then I do add a little bit more stain just to darken up the color of the stain, or it's actually antique wax, but anyways, we're using it like stain. I cut down all of my stems. I'm then going to take my stems and start to place them on the back of this wood round. So I just cut them down pretty short, and then I'm going to hot glue them, and then take a piece of duct tape, and we're going to add a little sliver of duct tape right over the top of this just to hold it into place. If I were to have to literally sit and hold each one of these until the hot glue dried, y'all, it would have took me forever. So I was like, you know what? The easiest way to do this would be to add a little hot glue, add my stem, and then add in a little bitty piece of duct tape just to hold that dude into place. And not only that, it gives me that extra support. So that's what I did. I just went all the way around this. Now, I did have to sit it up. I propped it up on a little container that I had, because if you just lay it down flat, it wants to push the stems want to push back off, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But anyways, so it was just simpler to do it that way. I propped it up and then began to evenly space out all of my stems. So I started out with the ones that had the pumpkins on them, and then I just went in between there with the ones that were just the maple leaves. I also added in a few of the blue flowers that I picked up from the Dollar General store. They were very, very pretty. But I just did this all the way around this wood round, and guys, I'm telling you, this is so stinking pretty. All right, number 6, I have got this gorgeous little vase that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and then these awesome looking mini mums, guys. These look so realistic. I am very proud of the Dollar Tree because these florals, I'm telling you, they are spot on. They look fantastic. I'm going to be using some plaster chalk paint to paint my vase. I just gave this 2 really good coats. Now, I'm going to go back and distress this, but I wanted it to start out with a, decent coat of paint to begin with. I used my heat gun in between coats to dry it. I always have a link in the description box for a heat gun on Amazon. They are so handy to have in your crafting stash. Trust me on that one. Now, I'm going to use some sandpaper or a little sanding block and sand down a few places on this vase just to bring out that texture. Look at that. These vases, I knew when I seen it that it would really look good painted and then distressed because of the texture that was on them. So I just did it in a couple different places all the way around it. That's what it's left with. Now I'm going to put some beads around it. So I decided to take some twine, wrap it around it, tie it off. I believe I double knotted it. And then we're going to take those pieces and I'm just going to string on about 5 beads per side. I did have to use some painter's tape on the end of the twine, just make it easy to get my beads on. But like I said, I think I did 5 beads on each side. I just tied it off at the bottom. I believe I triple knotted it at the bottom. That way my beads would stay in place. But I did the same process for the other side, just string on my beads, tied it off at the end, and then I cut off the excess of the twine. Check it out. So stinking cute. Now, I'm going to take my mums, and I popped them down in there, and I realized they were a little long, so I needed to trim off the bottoms just a hair. Y'all, I have no idea where the bottoms of these went. I'm telling you, when I would snip, it would just shoot across the room. I have no idea where the ends of those pieces are. somewhere in this cabin. But anyways, that's besides the point. I throwed my mums down in my vase, and this is what we're left with. And I'm telling y'all, if you just need a simple floral arrangement, this thing is gorgeous. I wish I would look here. So I'm doing a voiceover for this DIY video. And I have all the puppy dogs up here with me, of course. Y'all, they are rotten. Oh my goodness, rotten. What is it, Bubba? Lord have mercy. Anyways, I just thought I'd share that with y'all. Okay, so to get started on this next one, I have got a wreath form from the Dollar Tree, along with this gorgeous yarn that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. Y'all, it's real fuzzy. Like, it's not just regular yarn. It's got a really neat texture to it. And the colors were just, oh, so pretty for fall. Now, I took my wreath form and I cut it in half. I just cut off, with my wire cutters, I cut off the bottom portion of this. So I just have half of it now. Okay, so now that I've got it cut in half, I'm going to take some masking tape and I'm going to cover this entire wreath form. So we're going to be gluing the yarn directly to this wreath form, and I needed a, flat surface, or like a full surface, in order to do this project. So I just thought it would be easiest to just wrap this with masking tape. You could wrap it in burlap, you could wrap it in ribbon, any kind of stuff like that. But it was just easiest for me to wrap it in the masking tape. I also masked off the bottom of each side. That way the wire wasn't sticking out or poking or anything like that. I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to double it up about 6 or 7 times. I believe by the end I had it doubled, it was about 8 strands. And I'm just going to kind of find my placement with it around the wreath form. And then we're just going to take some hot glue and begin to glue this down. Guys, this DIY is so simple. And it turns out really, really cool looking. My daughter actually liked this one. So I was very proud of myself because it's kind of few and far between that she's like, oh, Mom, how about that? I like that one, So anyways, I thought it was pretty cool that she actually liked this one. But anyways, super duper simple. We're literally just going to glue that yarn directly down. Now, I did trim off the ends, kind of make that even. And then I'm just going to go in with my other colors. I believe I did the maroon, and then I did the orangey color, kind of a burnt orange color. Are these colors not gorgeous for fall, guys? Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. And then we're going to do that mustardy yellow color. And as I was putting it down, I kind of wrapped it a little bit. Like I would wrap it around my finger and kind of wind it up, so that way it would stay together on this wreath form. And then we're going to go in with that brown and then also that kind of beigey color. So pretty. Now, I found this other little wreath form type deal here, this little ring that said welcome on it, and that's also from the Dollar Tree. And I decided to glue that to the back of this in the middle, so it wouldn't be so plain. It would have a little extra something to it. I added hot glue and then added down a little duct tape just for that security, just to hold it into place. But y'all, I think the colors in this are absolutely gorgeous, and I just think it turned out super cool. So for this next one, I have got this sign that I picked up at the Dollar General. Now this was originally $5, but I got it for like $2.50 half price. And then I've got some window clings from the Dollar Tree. First thing I'm going to do is go in with some celery chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to cover up that center portion of this sign. Super simple. Just painted it in. It was almost the exact same color as what it was originally, so it was very, very simple to cover. I'm then going to take some of that Aleene's tacky glue and water mixture. It's just like Mod Podge, except I feel like it's a lot stickier. Anyways, I'm just going to add that to the center of this little sign right where we painted. And then we're going to take this autumn window cling, Hello Autumn, and place that in the center of this sign. I just smoothed it out with my fingers real good. I'll go back with a baby wipe and really smooth it down here in a minute. But it also had some of these little pumpkins on the window cling, so I thought, well, I'll add some of those in just as an extra little touch. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe and really wipe this down and smooth it in and make sure that everything is stuck really well. I do trim off the edge of the pumpkins there, but y'all, this was that simple. This sign is so stinking cute. I'm actually going to end up giving this to my mother-in-law, but it does not get any simpler than this. And guys, this is so stinking cute. Okay, so for this last one, I have got 3 of these little signs from the Dollar Tree. I think they're so cute. They got the little beaded detail on them, just too stinking cute. And then some of these gorgeous window clings. Now, the first thing I did was just go through and take the center part out of my signs. I'm then going to take that piece and use it as a template to make 3 little squares out of some poster board. Now, I just thought that this would be the quickest, easiest way to cover these instead of having to paint or try to peel all the paper off of these or anything like that. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to cut out 3 of these onto some poster board, and we're just going to use the poster board. I think it's going to be perfectly fine. So that's what I did. I just cut 3 of them out. I'm then going to take some of that Aleene's tacky glue and water mixture, and I'm going to use that to adhere the poster board to the actual little sign. Super, super simple. Now, the reason I say that this Aleene's tacky glue is stickier than just regular Mod Podge is because I don't feel like Mod Podge would have actually stuck the poster board to these signs. You know what I mean? It's almost too runny, where the Aleene's tacky glue and water mixture is a little thicker. Now, or you can make it as thick or as runny as you want it, actually, just by adding a little more water or taking a little more water away. But anyways, y'all get the point. Now, I'm going to use that same mixture to add on my window clings. So simple, guys. This was such an easy DIY. And those little signs that we're using that have the bead detail, you could do anything with those. You could save those and do those with Christmas DIYs. You could do them with just everyday decor. I mean, they are perfect for little stuff like this. And I think they're going to be so cute as like little shelf sitters, or maybe in a tiered tray or something like that. They would be darling. Now, to place these back in the frame, I just used a little dab of hot glue, popped these dudes right back into place. Super, super simple. I told you guys this was going to be quick and simple. These were so easy to do. And guys, the 3 of them together are just absolutely adorable. I love the colors in these window clings, and I love those frames. right, y'all, that is it for today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I always have a blast putting together videos like this, especially DIYs that are fall or Christmas or any of the holidays. I love doing DIYs for the holidays. So these are some of my absolute favorites that I have done so far this year. If you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. It definitely helps my channel. Don't forget to share this with your friends and family and subscribe. That would be awesome. Plus hit that notification bell so that you will know each time I upload a new video. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me today, and y'all have a blessed day.